Hello guys and welcome back to Car Obsession. Today you join me with the brand new Mazda 3 and my word, does it look good, but does it drive as well as it looks? Well, let's find out. Right, and away we go now. I must stress, this is a very quick drive. I've got this car for about 15 minutes or so this is not a full comprehensive review. These are merely my first thoughts, and my GoPro appears to be a little bit wonky. Just change that before I get into the swing of things. There we go, that looks a bit better. Well, it does to me. I've probably made it worse knowing my luck, but we shall continue. So yes, the new Mazda 3. This will go against the likes of the Ford Focus, the Vauxhall Astra, well, the new Astra when it comes out. That is due to arrive soon, and other medium-sized hatchbacks. Now, let me quickly tell you about my first impressions of the car. What I really like, now this may not be to everyone's tastes, but step inside the car and you've got a low slung driving position. It almost feels like I'm in a coupe, and you look at the outside and again it's quite coupe-esque. You have a swooping roofline which thankfully doesn't rob you of rear headroom. I'm 6'2" and I've got a decent amount of headroom in the rear, and the space in the back is pretty good. But anyway, back onto my initial driving impressions. I will just turn up the climate control because it is quite warm in here and I am getting quite hot. So let's talk about the engine. Let's turn it down a smidge. Let's talk about the engine. So I have a 2-litre naturally aspirated Sky Active G petrol engine which offers 122 horsepower with 213 newton meters of torque. This power is mated to the front wheels via a 6-speed manual gearbox, which has got a nice short throw to it. It's quite satisfying to use. Yep, it's quite a slick change. Well done, Mazda. So in regard to performance, this will hit 62 miles per hour in 10.4 seconds and continue to a top speed of 122 miles per hour. But what about fuel economy? Well, on a combined run, this engine will offer you 44.8 mpg, and in regard to emissions, they come in at 119 grams per kilometre of CO2. There we are. There's quite a lot of stats for you there. As well as the 2-litre petrol engine, there's also the choice of the 1.8-litre Sky Active D diesel engine, which offers 116 horsepower and 270 newton meters of torque. Like the petrol engine, it can either be mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 6-speed automatic. Emissions are as low as 107 grams per kilometre of CO2, but that does rise if you go for bigger alloys or the automatic gearbox. In regard to fuel economy, you can expect 56.5 mpg on a combined run, but that will change if you go for the bigger alloys or the automatic gearbox. So back onto the driving sensation. Change down into third. Got a corner coming up to see how this handles. And it handles pretty well. Not a lot of body roll, there's a good amount of grip. The steering has got a decent amount of weight to it. And this is, on my very quick drive, an enjoyable car to drive. Now this isn't particularly sporty, but it definitely feels capable. Change down. Brakes have got a nice sensation to them. The brake pedal feels quite firm. It does offer quite a lot of assurance. Now this car isn't turbocharged, therefore you do need to work it a little bit, but even so, I wouldn't say you really have to rev the nuts off it to make any decent kind of progress. And on this very hilly route, in case you're wondering where I'm at the Millbrook Proving Ground. On this hilly route, at no point have I struggled. Yes, I did just change down into second then, but that's just so I had enough speed to get me through this corner. But the engine actually feels quite responsive. It's a nice car through the corners. As I've said, the brakes feel nice to use. They're reassuring. The clutch pedal, to me, does feel a little bit springy, but it offers no real concerns. And the inside is a nice place to be. Now this is the Sport Lux, which is around the mid-range of the trim levels for the new Mazda 3. Now I will dub in a voiceover to give you a bit more information about this car. At this point you may be asking how much the new Mazda 3 is to buy. It starts from £20,595, offering features such as 16-inch alloys, LED headlights, driver attention alert, cruise control, autonomous emergency braking, Bluetooth and smartphone connectivity, to name a few. The model on test here though is the Sport Lux, which sits in the middle of the range at a starting price of £22,795, adding features such as keyless entry, front and rear parking sensors, reversing camera, 18-inch alloys and LED rear lights. Earlier I mentioned that rear space was decent, but what about the boot? With a capacity of 358 litres, it's actually a tad smaller than the previous car, and it's also a little bit smaller than the Ford Focus, the Vauxhall Astra and the Volkswagen Golf. The inside is a nice place to be. Got a nice leather steering wheel, leather gear knob. You've also got leather on the dashboard as well. Nice gloss black plastics. And it feels nice in here. It doesn't feel that cluttered either. It's quite minimalist in here. It feels grown up. I like it. We've got a nice large touchscreen in the middle, 8.8 inches, and you've also got a digital driver display in front of you, and I've also got a head-up display, which you probably can't see on my camera here, because I find quite often cameras don't quite pick up head-up displays very well. But I've got a head-up display in front of me, a nice bit of kit. And yes, overall, this is a nice place to be, and so far, it's a nice car to drive. Now let's speak about the ride, because I haven't mentioned it. That's purely because the ride hasn't really given me any kind of issues, therefore I've not thought about it, so that is pretty good praise. But let me talk about the ride. Yes, the ride is pretty good, although I must confess I have spent my morning in hot hatches, so anything that's a bit more supple will feel pretty amazing, let's be honest. However, the ride, yeah, it's smooth, it's compliant, but it's not too soft that you don't get any decent handling, so it's a really good compromise. There's a slight firm edge to it, but it does soak up the bumps quite nicely. What about safety? This is an area where the Mazda 3 does well, as it was recently awarded 5 stars by Euro NCAP. This is thanks to standard features such as 7 airbags, driver attention alert, blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, traffic sign recognition, hill hold assist, autonomous emergency braking and intelligent speed assist. Any negatives I can think of so far? Well, this may sound a bit picky because I'm going through a few corners, but I find the seats aren't really keeping me in place that well. So through the corners, I would want the seats to be a bit more supportive. Yeah, they're not really keeping me in my place. But again, this is not a hot hatch, so maybe I should give Mazda a bit of slack. But I must say, as a car to drive, it is accomplished. Yes, I think Mazda, you need to do a bit more work on your seats. My passenger in the front, I can see her moving about here, there and everywhere. I can see her being shaken up like a cocktail. But apart from that, on this albeit short drive, I've been impressed by the new Mazda 3. It looks fantastic. Well, it does in my opinion. I know looks are subjective. It's a nice place to be. It's a nice car to drive. I think this will please many drivers in my opinion. And as I said earlier, I really like the low driving position. It may not be for everybody, but if you want a high commanding driving position, well, go out and buy an SUV. But yeah, first impressions of this car, they are most certainly good. But sadly, it's now time for me to hand the car back to Mazda, so someone else can have a quick spin in it. So on that note, I would like to thank you for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If so, give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more car obsession.